Okay, I'm gonna throw some stats at you.
Well, why do they even matter at this point? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
they don't. Well, these stats.
Let me be professional, unlike the coaching staff here in Carolina. Go ahead, sir.
9 straight losses.
Yep.
It's most in NFL.
Yep.
1-17 when leading a game over the last 3 seasons. 1-25 when giving up more than 17 points over the last 3 seasons. Those stats all belong to the Matt Rule era Carolina Panthers after an embarrassing loss to the New York Giants, who, according to the commentators, you would think is like the powerhouse of the NFC East. Maybe the case because that division is always a bit of an illusion. But they lose 16-19 in a game where no one could get out of their own way. The best player on the field was Christian McCaffrey, who they barely used, really. 15 rushes for 102 yards and a 49-yard rush. But everybody sucked except for, I guess, Christian McCaffrey and Frankie Louvu, who had, check the stat line out, 10 solo tackles, 1 pass defended, 4 tackles for a loss. 10 solo tackles. Solo.
Frankie Kuechly?
Yes, Frankie Kuechly. Shaq Thompson had a pretty good game too. Actually, I think the defense played fairly well. Brian Burns had 4 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits. I thought the defense played well enough. They gave up some big plays late, but you trying to tell me you can't score more than 16 points on the damn New York Giants? You fumbled the ball away on the opening kickoff, and then Robbie Anderson, all that shit you talked, got your new contract. We ain't seen you since you signed that contract, bro. Yeah, 1 good play last week, and you think you're back. Then you fumble the ball away. Luckily, the defense was good enough to keep New York down to scoring 2 field goals. Really, the game should have been 14-0 at that point, but luckily our defense kicked in. Derek Brown he had one Derek Brown sighting, and then he went home. He had his 1 play, and then he left. Shaw Smith, bro, what? Why do you exist? Shaw Smith is the new tag end.
No. Curtis Samuel, training camp MVP.
Training camp MVP. Yeah, because we were like, man, Shaw Smith looks really good in the preseason. It's really good. Nothing today.
It's tough for me. Like anytime I feel like either the team or the coaching staff doesn't give a professional effort, it's hard for me to be professional because why the hell should I be professional when they're not? The thing is, man, I'll talk about the offense first. And, a part of me, the biggest blame, quite honest, and I think everybody agrees, goes to this coaching staff. However, I can't really point a lot of fingers at Ben McAdoo. And the reason why, the seminal reason why, the right side of the offensive line had a really bad day. And Taylor Moton gets paid way too much damn money to have some no-name dude dominate him the way that he was dominated today. And I thought that was a really big issue. I thought the offensive line played like dirt today. Now, we knew the offensive line was going to struggle coming into this season. Look, I'll give the Giants credit. The defense played well last week. So that carried over to this week. So I'm not going to sit here and act like we should be surprised by the way that the Giants defense played. Now, with that being said, Taylor Moton, again, you get paid way too much money to have these backups because that's what they are. Giants had 2 defensive line starters out today. Thibodeau didn't even play today. So you got backups dominating your offensive line. Go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of that pressure came from blitzes. We got outcoached. The Giants.
You stole my thunder, but
were
go
really
ahead.
aggressive. No, go ahead.
I was getting to that because me and you talked in the chat how Phil Snow got scared in the beginning of the second quarter, maybe around that time. Kaza, what does a 3-man rush ever do?
I need somebody out there who knows more than football than I do to convince me that the 3-man pass rush
Ever
is
works?
effective at the NFL level. I've never seen it be effective. Dropping 8 guys in coverage does not work in the NFL because you give any NFL quarterback enough time, he's going to hit the open guy. I don't know why Phil Snow won't get away from that. And then you're right. He got scared. I think it was the third quarter because it was the drive in which the Giants scored a touchdown. They matched us. We threw a blitz, safety blitz at Daniel Jones, and the Giants picked it up to their credit. And Jones made a great throw into damn near triple coverage, and it was a great catch. It was just a really good play. Every play after that, we rushed 3, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. It's like, okay, I get it. You don't want to blitz every play. Okay, I get it. But at least rush 4. Ain't covers. He's finding the open dude every time.
And Kaza, I wish we had some fancy stat that'll tell us the percentage of when we actually rushed 4 and how much it actually worked.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna post it on the Under Construction Facebook page. It can't be good.
It can't be good. It has to be a really big discrepancy of when we rushed 4 versus when we went to this 3-man rush, which was just mind-boggling to me, man. But let's talk about the obvious thing in the room, man. Chuba Hubbard's fumble at the beginning of the damn game. You spot him 3 points, and ultimately, that's the difference in the game. The defense was lights out, really, in the first half. You can't really ask for much more on the defense in the first half. And we keep harping back on the same damn thing over and over again, man. This team keeps prodding themselves. Don't beat ourselves. Don't beat ourselves. You continually shoot yourself in the foot every week, and that is a byproduct of poor coaching. You're not prepared to play every week, man. Look, man, I don't know what's going to happen Monday. It's really early in the season. We're not used to coaches getting fired this early in the season, but damn, man, how long is this going to go on?
1 in 25 when you give up more than 17 points, 9 straight losses, 1 in 17 when you're leading. To me, that's the biggest stat because that shows that you couldn't make the proper adjustment. That means you got outcoached. If you're winning the game and the other team comes back, that means the other team made an adjustment that you were not able to pick up.
That you were not able to do. Right.
Okay, it's gonna happen sometimes. It's the NFL. Teams lose, but dog, 18 games, you're leading and you only win one of those games. That's mind blowing. That is the most ridiculous stat. When they put that on the screen, I had to make sure this can't be real. But I just don't. I don't know, man.
I don't, dude.
I'm gonna give some heat to the offense today, and I'm gonna give some heat to Baker Mayfield. He played terribly today. I don't know if it's the curse of Skip Bayless or what.
Probably.
We can all say, because we all know it's true, the offensive line is absolutely terrible. The offensive line has been terrible since 2015, 2016. And we never gave, we don't give that kind of leeway to Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, or Cam Newton.
Right.
When they stunk it up.
Right. Absolutely.
Baker Mayfield deserves, and even when he had time to throw, he missed some bunnies. There was a out route to Robbie Anderson, I think. It might have been DJ Moore, but I mean, he had all the time in the world to throw, and he just overthrew him.
Hey, which brings me, look, I'm glad you brought that up because I told you that I don't want to give McAdoo a lot of smoke today. And in the midst of the game, I kind of answered my own question because I was wondering at some point, why is Mayfield running all these damn rollouts? Like, I've never seen the Panthers, running all these rollouts, especially on third down. And I noticed they was doing it a lot. And I was kind of questioning that. But then I thought about it. I was like, well, you kind of don't have any options when Taylor Moton and the rest of the offensive line is playing like doo-doo. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like the only way that they saw fit to protect Mayfield all game. But let me say this. But with that being said, Mayfield missed about 3 or 4 very important throws that he simply just has to make. No excuses.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, the rollouts, I noticed that too. And I think that's just, like you said, that's just a very basic way to try and give your QB time to throw. But it's like it's not sustainable. It's not. This ain't Madden. You know how I'm Madden. If you play people online in Madden, what do? They drop back and they roll out 25 yards downfield and wait for the guy to get open. Okay, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work in real life, buddy.
It does not work in real life. Yeah, I got sick of seeing Baker Mayfield flushed out of the pocket.
And then there's the batted balls. Remember, there's about 3 batted balls in the first half, so probably something to circumvent that as well.
Yeah, the batted balls issue. I mean, Baker Mayfield's short. Nobody else in the league has had more batted balls than him since he's been in the league. So you gotta. I'm going to put that down to coaching. I think the positional coaching is terrible. I can't think of any facet of the team that I'm like, that is a well coached part of the team. I guess maybe the kicking game, because old Eddie's been doing all right.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, Hecker's the MVP, man.
Hecker's the MVP of the season so far.
So special teams is coached well. Everybody else, and I feel like Phil Snow has the personnel, but he does not. The game plan is wrong. The play call is wrong. I feel the opposite about the offense. I actually feel like the play calling was okay, but the execution and the talent isn't there. Ian Thomas, what are you doing? You don't have like one good play.
Ian Thomas is the poster child for can't handle success. You know, last week he had his breakout run. You know, he ran a 4.9 in the 40 last week, but had the long pass, man, had a good game.
Making the team. You really telling me there's nobody else out there better than Ian Thomas?
And let me ask this question: where in the hell is Tommy Tremble? Did we just bury him on the bench somewhere?
Well, he was injured at the end of the preseason, so maybe I don't know. I'd rather see Tommy Tremble out there. But Shi Smith had 6 targets.
At least 2 drops.
6 targets with 1 catch for 2 yards. Why are you throwing at him 6 times?
At that point, why is he in the game? Why is Rashad Higgins not in the game? That's my question.
I mean, I don't know. I really think it's time to do a no shit rebuild, a real rebuild.
Right.
Before, Tepper was trying to avoid a full rebuild because, let's be honest, Charlotte doesn't handle rebuilds well. It's very dangerous to do a full rebuild in Charlotte. It really, the Hornets barely survived the great rebuild of 2010, 2011.
And look. Luckily for the Hornets, there's a profit sharing in the NBA because without that, boy, man.
So you know, if Tepper goes into full rebuild mode, he's going to lose a lot of money. And Tepper he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's willing to go into the red at all. So. But I mean, if obviously this game plan is not working, it's not working. I mean, do you expect? Okay, so you went all in on the defense and you said, okay, the offense is going to be bad, but we're going to build it up. Okay, well, how long do we have to wait? Baker Mayfield is probably not going to stick around after the season. I'd be shocked if he re-signed with the team.
Why would he want to? That's my question. Why would he want to stick around? Why?
And you know what's going to happen. David Tepper is going to offer Lamar Jackson all the money in the world, and he probably won't sign with us. And then where does that leave Baker Mayfield anyway? Sam Darnold's going to be the starter again. So this team just seems like a mess just 2 weeks into the season. Okay, I'll give you Cleveland. We picked them to lose to the Browns. We didn't like the way they lost.
Right.
They lost that. We knew the run defense wasn't good. They tightened up the run defense this week against Saquon Barkley. And we said last week, you can't lose to a team like the Giants. And still somehow you find some way to lose.
You find some way to lose. But what do they say about bad teams? What do they say about bad teams do what? Bad teams find a way to lose.
Find a way to lose.
We are quite simply a bad football team because we keep finding creative and bad ways to lose football games. Shout out to my man Alex Kearns, who's a Baltimore Ravens fan. So he's like, "Oh hell no, y'all not get Lamar."
Well, hey, Lamar bet on himself, and man, boy, is he winning that gamble? Boy, winning that bet right now.
But back to what I was saying about the state of the franchise, man. But to your point, man, you know, we're talking like this in the second week of the season, but make no mistake about it, man. This is just a continuation of the last two seasons,
right.
Man.
It would be different.
Like it's changing.
Yeah. Right. It would be different if there was some momentum at the end of last season and we just kind of tripped up against a good Cleveland defense and a team that's about at the same level as we are in the New York Giants. But that's not the case. 9 losses, straight losses going back to last season in which we lost 7 in a row. And there's no – I don't see where the improvement is going to come from. I don't – okay, so we improved the run defense. Yay. Okay, that wasn't good enough because offensively we can't get it done. And I think the improvements on offense are going to be that much harder to make because
I agree.
Sucks, and we're not making any adjustments to make up for that. It's so frustrating to watch as a Panthers fan.
You know, man, like you know when you've seen other teams rebuild, and in the process of that rebuild, you know how you have some teams they're not there yet, but you can see marked improvement. You can say, oh man, you know, this is a young roster. In a few years, you know they're going to be better. A la the Charlotte Hornets, contrary to popular belief. You know what I mean? With the Panthers, it's just our wheels are spinning to a place of nowhere. Like it's not. It seems hopeless to be quite frank about it. It just seems like a hopeless situation. So, with that being said, why is Matt Rule going to stick around here for another 15 games? What point? What is the point of doing that?
Yeah, Jamal Allen says, what week is Matt Rule fired? Tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, or week 3? Our buddy Rodney says that he doesn't think that would happen. And I agree with him. I don't think it will happen, but it has to happen. Unless you have that much. So I think back to Ron Rivera's 3rd season. And I don't know if you guys remember the week 2 against the Buffalo Bills.
Oh boy, I remember that one vividly.
Found a way to lose that game. Might have been week 3 actually, but it was early week 2 or 3. It was the game that got Hurney fired. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
After that game, Marty Hurney got fired, and a lot of people were calling for Ron's head. But the organization, they saw something in the Ron Rivera, Cam Newton connection. Luke, there was a lot to believe in, and the Panthers ended up making the playoffs that year. Actually, ended up winning the division and making the playoffs that year. And they ended up losing to the 49ers, but ended up being a good season. I don't see that kind of turnaround in this team. I just don't see it. We don't have anyone like Cam Newton. We don't have anyone like Luke Kuechly as good as Jeremy Chin and Frankie Louvu are. We just don't have anyone that good. We don't.
Right.
We have Christian McCaffrey and a bunch of guys on offense who are overpaid. I don't see it.
No, and I agree with that, man. And the thing is, but see, that goes back to spinning our wheels, man. And how much? And this is a conversation we've had in the past. We've had this conversation of who is really calling the shots as far as personnel moves, because that needs to be a question as well. It's like Fitterer's been here like 5 minutes. It's like, do we really want to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do we really want to come down that hard on Fitterer, man? But at the same time, man, we're donating draft picks away to other teams for Sam Darnold and God knows who else, man. It doesn't seem like we're hitting on the talent that we used to in the first round. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Marty Hurney. You know what I mean? Derek Brown is so far been mediocre at best. So I just still have that question of who is really calling the shots as far as personnel goes, because that does need to be addressed. And I will say this. Look, we're not insiders. We don't sit at the seat. Let me be very clear about that. Shut up, Rodney. Let me be very clear about that. However, my hunch tells me Matt Rule is probably at that seat making most of the personnel decisions as well, man.
Hey, you know what? Let's take a positivity break. Why did we fire Rodney? We did not fire Rodney.
We didn't fire Rodney. Rodney fired us.
I don't know, but Rodney actually he had to kind of, I'm not gonna say distance himself from under construction, but Rodney works for the big guys now. Yeah. Rodney, you want to put it in the chat, Rodney? Is it okay for us to announce that and give you some love? Let's see what he says. Okay, he hadn't responded yet. But yeah, you know, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about who's your offensive MVP. Why am I asking that? We know who it is.
Oh, man, you know what? It brings me to another question. Here's my Skip Bayless hot take. The Carolina Panthers are wasting Christian McCaffrey's career. And even though that career has been kind of, you know, the narrative is he's been hit with injuries and what have you. With that being said, the Panthers have wasted that man's career.
Yes, but Rodney has not wasted his. Yes, Rodney works for ESPN now. Much love to our brother Rodney for making it to the big time.
Right.
Very, very proud of you, bro. Very proud of you. So he's had to maintain an air of professionalism that me and Jamal
we don't have to. Yeah, I'll never.
Fuck that. That's what I say. That's what I say to that. Fuck them. Yeah, fuck the Panthers. You know, fuck the Hornets too. If they don't get that shit right.
So fuck it all, man. We don't have the decorum in the class Rodney has.
No. I would make it like 2 minutes on ESPN. They'd be like, this
dude's got to go. but yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah. Hey, Rodney, man, move way up in the company, man, so you can hire us two delinquents, man, so we can bring that rawness to ESPN, man.
Oh boy, Joshua with the clutch. They're not ever gonna let you live that down. You know what? I might still have that recorded. We're gonna send that to ESPN. So Rodney, when he's at the Sports Center desk, they can show that. Defensive MVP. Now, actually, you got a lot of people to pick from here.
But it's Luvu. It's
Frankie Luvu. He set a good tone, especially on that. There was a big third down or second down in which the Giants had third and goal. He shot through the line, stopped the run. I mean, he just had a great game. He should be on somebody's Pro Bowl team. One of the bright spots of the. I feel like the defense is doing their job. Phil Smith is in their way.
Phil Snow.
Yeah, Phil Snow is in their way. But even then, they played well enough to win. I felt like you should score more than 16 points against the damn New York Giants that are missing 2 starting defensive linemen.
So Dante Jackson goes out with an apparent hamstring injury, man. Is that a big deal? What was that a big deal in your opinion, man?
Not it didn't make a difference in today's game, but
yeah, I agree.
LeFranc injury is pretty big. I mean, that essentially ended Greg Olson's career. It's a difficult injury to heal on, and we've always said about Dante Jackson, when he can stay on the field, he's good enough. And I thought that he was serviceable in the slot this year. It was a better position for him than being on the outside like he was previous years. But I think moving forward it might end up being a bit of a bloat. But we have a strong secondary, strong enough. You know, with Henderson, J.C. Horn, Luvu, and Jeremy Chin, I feel like the secondary is solid enough. And they're not a Legion of Boom, but they're solid enough to where I think they can miss Dante Jackson some. But it didn't make a difference today.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, man, I not to kind of diminish what Frankie Luvu did today, man, but he had a big missed opportunity too, man. He had an interception that went right through his hands, man,
that
and
would
that
have made
could
a difference in the game. Also, yeah, no turnovers in these first two games, and that's
right.
huge.
That's huge.
That's big because that ended up being the game.
Hey, look. Here's my Booger McFarland moment. Especially if we're turning the ball over, like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you're going to turn it over 2-3 times, you better make sure you're taking it away from the other team, man. Yeah, I
yeah.
know Booger McFarland moment, but just want to stay in the obvious.
I mean, the defense was the only bright spot for the day, and
Hey man, Baker Mayfield. We didn't give out stats. Baker Mayfield 14 for 29, 1.5. Yuck.
how you get outplayed by Daniel Jones, bro?
But why does Daniel Jones look like Phil Simms every time we play him? What is that about?
Well, you know what I noticed. Oh yeah, that stung.
I called that. I not in the chat, but just in my head, I knew they were going to run a fake rollout, bootleg, and ta-da. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with Baker, part of the problem is that this was the difference between him and Daniel Jones today. Okay, so they both ended averaging. Baker ended up averaging 5 yards per completion, and Daniel Jones 5.2. But at the beginning of the game, Daniel Jones started off 9 for 10,
yeah,
and he was just taking what the Panthers defense gave him. He would get a little dink and dunk, 9 for 10, but he got his rhythm. So then near the end of the game, he was able to make these big plays because he was already in rhythm. Baker Mayfield is looking downfield every time he drops back. So he started off the game like 50% because he was unable to establish a rhythm. He wasn't taking what the defense was giving him. He was trying to force it. If it wasn't there, he was rolling out and then having to throw away. I think Baker needed to, if he's going to be calm, Baker, first of all, be calm in the pocket. Take what you got. You got Christian McCaffrey. Like, just
right.
Camp would have just dumped it to McCaffrey or Olsen, if guys weren't downfield. Baker Mayfield, I think, he's too much in gunslinger mode, and we don't have the offensive line for that. Oh, we got spam bot. We got the offensive line just isn't good enough for that. For Baker.
Man. We finally made it. We finally got bots on.
All right.
We finally made it, y'all. We finally made it.
We got a spam bot in the chat, but yeah, I think that if you're Matt Rhule and the coaching staff, you have to say, okay, we can't go downfield every play, in the first half.
And look, man, we probably sound contradictory because at first we loved how Baker Mayfield was throwing the ball downfield, but there's balance. Like just like you said, man, you got to take the easy play, and it's kind of ironic that Baker Mayfield was getting that criticism when Cam Newton used to get the same criticism as well. Man, just take the easy play, which he started doing after a while when he had Chris McCaffrey. So I hope
Cam can't throw downfield now. Even though people have been asking for years for him to be a dink and dunk.
Right, man. The irony, man. But hopefully Baker Mayfield takes a clue, man, and starts doing the thing and provides a little more balance. But at the same time, he's probably not going to have much of a choice if his offensive line continues to be this atrocious. You're probably going to have to dink and dunk a lot more.
So, but it makes you think, though. Okay, so if the offensive line is bad, regardless of who our quarterback is, should we really have gone after Baker Mayfield? Is he making a difference? Obviously not. I mean, we're on
so listen. As much crap as we've talked today, I still think he can. I'm using the first game kind of as my example of that because I thought he did play better, in game one. Same offensive line, same issues. Myles Garrett, who the Giants don't have anybody close to that. You know what I mean? So I still think it's possible, and I still think maybe with a better game plan and not playing from behind, we still could see some improvement, man. But things looking so bleak now, man. Who knows, dude?
So a lot of people in the comments are talking about, firing Rule and making Steve Wilkes the interim coach. How would you feel about that move?
Just spinning on wheels again. It's punting on the season, but it's that would to me be a tank equivalent of tanking in the NBA. I like Steve Wilkes, but I don't know about Steve Wilkes as a head coach. And if you want to make him the interim coach and essentially just say, you know what, the hell with this season, fine, but don't go expecting anything just totally different, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, I think the 1 year as a head coach, he didn't have a good season with
Arizona. Yeah.
And I think that might stick in the back of Tepper's mind. But I don't know. I just feel like you do have to fire Matt Rule, but I don't think that's going to happen. And here's the thing: tanking in the NFL works, unlike the NBA. But who are we tanking for?
Who are we tanking for? Right.
I mean, like,
hey, Drake, he's pretty damn good, man. But
to change the fortunes of this franchise with a O-line.
Right.
Is he that good? I mean, let's be honest. There have only been a few quarterbacks in the last decade to be that good. Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Patrick Mahomes.
He's trying to stop right there.
Josh Allen, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, who plays for the Carolina Panthers North. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, shout out to McDermott.
Okay, so Jonathan Smith says Sean Payton. First of all, I'm mad at Sean Payton because he actually picked us to lose this game. So fuck him.
Right.
And Jamal Cowan says you can't fire a guy you'd like to have a beer with. Boy, I mean,
hey, look, man. Hey, look. Hey, not nice guy don't win your games in the NFL, man. and to that point, I think there's a lot of level of truth to that when it comes to Tepper and Rule. I really do. I really think Tepper probably has some type of personal fondness for Rule. But the hell with that, man. You can't run a football team like that. You can't do it.
Yes, good corrections there. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow also using quarterbacks. Chris Galloway makes a great point. Why Wilkes? They have an offensive coordinator that actually took a team to playoffs as a head coach. Now, he was the coach of the Giants because they kept telling us that every 20 seconds on the game. I mean, should David Tepper be like, Matt Rule's not getting it done because of college shit. Let's take a guy who actually has experience running an NFL franchise.
It would be the perfect scenario. The perfect since Nebraska is firing coaches like every 2 minutes, man. Matt Rule should just resign and say, you know what, I'm going to Nebraska to take that job, right? Just let everybody off the damn.
Resign, right? It's going to be like, look, we're gonna let you resign, but you're fired, bro. But we're gonna let you resign, take this Nebraska job.
And look, the headline will read: the Panthers and Matt Rule mutually agree to part ways. Yep. You know how that stuff works, right?
Yep. Oh boy, I mean, this is an ugly way to start the season. The Cleveland loss I could have dealt with. I could have even dealt with this loss if the Panthers had played better. But the thing is, if they had played better, they would have won. If Baker Mayfield plays this much better, they win. If the offensive line plays this much better, they win. If Shi Smith plays this much better, they win.
If they don't turn the ball over 2 damn times, they win. If they don't give the Giants 6 points, they win the game. That simple.
Yeah. If you don't let Daniel Jones run for the first down on 3rd and 9, you might win the game.
You give yourself a chance to win. I'm going to tell you something that was kind of ironic that really pissed me off to end the game. The blitz that the Giants sent on our 3rd down to get Baker Mayfield to essentially
close the game. Yeah.
I'm thinking like, damn, like Phil Snow, are you watching this?
That's how you play. And they got through clean. And they even said on the broadcast, Daryl Johnston, who I really like, by the way, actually, as a commentator. But He was like, wow, the Giants are bringing 8. How many times have we ever brought 8 dudes? Now, I'm not saying you should bring 8 guys on the blitz every time because obviously you're going to have some holes in your coverage. But the Giants were willing to take that gamble. They were like, look, we know their offensive line is trash. We're going to bring 8 dudes. You got to either block or hit the hot route, and then we're going to pick him up before he gets the first down. You got to do something. The Panthers never do that. They never do that. It's like when we do blitz, if it doesn't work, Phil Snow goes, oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if we want to risk that. Let's only rush 3. Why not just rush 2, dude? Why not just rush 2? Why not just rush 1? Just drop everybody back in coverage. Why not
drop everybody back?
Why not do that? If you're rushing 3, you're not going to get to the quarterback with 3 dudes. So why not just rush 2 and then have 9 guys in coverage? I
don't get it, man. Man, just one more question regarding that, man. And I kind of want to see what you think about this. Do you think the staff is not allowing Mayfield to change the play like at the line? Because if you see blitz coming on a 3rd down, and like I never see them audible out of what they're doing. I feel like the play calls probably coming a little late a lot of times. Like, why are we not making any adjustments at the line when you see the whole damn team about to blitz you? Like, Kaza, if me and you are seeing this from our couch, why are they not seeing that from the sideline?
I mean, so a lot of times teams won't audible out of a blitz because, you know, a lot of play calls are designed to where, okay, if there's a blitz, find the blitz and find your hot route. And maybe Baker feels like, you know, obviously he sees the blitz and he's thinking, okay, this is my hot route. Even though he never throws to him, he's like, okay, this is my hot route and I'm good. That's the only thing I can think of. But you bring up a good point. I don't recall seeing Baker change the play at the line. He did once today, and he changed it to a really stupid play. It was like a screen to somebody, and he threw it like at his feet, essentially.
Yeah, well, maybe we just answered our question. maybe that's why. Whatever.
That's true. They do a lot of RPOs, which I don't think fits this offense actually, or they're not
equipped for.
Right, they're not utilizing the RPO scheme in the best way. They're like really predictable, honestly.
Yeah.
But, to be fair, though, I really don't think the offensive play calling is necessarily the issue. The execution is just poor, and they're not doing enough to mitigate having Swiss cheese O-line. So
that's my thing. It all starts with the foundation, which is that offensive line, man.
I'm thinking of like a team like the Seahawks back when they had the Legion of Boom. And I understand they had one like a historically good defense. But their offense wasn't terrible. And they had one of the worst offensive lines in football.
Right.
Russell Wilson somehow always found a way to make it happen. Now, I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold or Teddy Bridgewater or even Cam Newton or Russell Wilson, but you got to find a way to make it work. Like just saying, oh, the O-line's bad, so oh well. Like you can do that. If you're Matt Rule, your job depends on this. So
no, look, man, because I've sung Ben McAdoo's praises a lot, man, recently, man. But at the same time, he's got to earn his money. Like, the NFL is a no-excuse league, man. You got to find a way to mitigate that. I totally agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay, let's look ahead to next week.
Do we have to?
I mean, we can keep talking about this week.
What we got next week, man?
The Saints, which they're going to be mad because they were fired up today because they feel like they can beat the Bucs, and it was a good game, but Tom Brady ended up coming out on top 20-10. So the Saints are going to be, I think they're going to be pretty fired up. They're playing in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Do we win that? Like, do we win that game? I'm sorry. Actually, they play. I'm sorry, I was wrong. They play.
They're here. They're here.
But do we win that game?
I'm going to seriously regret this. Let me just go ahead and tell you this now. Before I say this, I don't even know if I believe this. Just for the sake of the odds, just for the sake of the numbers, I'm going to pick us to win. Do I believe that? Nah, no, I don't. And if I'm wrong, I'll be like, oh well, we lost again. But there is a reason why I'm going to pick us. There's one reason why I'm going to pick us. That reason is Jameis Winston. He played like dog shit today. He was terrible today. If we get terrible Jameis Winston next week, believe it or not, we can actually win the turnover battle, which is incomprehensible to us at times. But trust me, Jameis may just give us the damn game next week. He threw 3 interceptions today, man. He took 6 sacks today. He was awful. So for that reason only, I'll pick us, but I'm gonna regret it. I know. I already know.
Yeah. I'm not picking. I can't pick us. I can't. The Saints have they're number 9 in rushing. They run the ball well so far, at least through these first 2 games.
And Kamara missed this week, so he's probably going to be back.
Find it back next week. The Saints, high-powered offense, like always, even with Sean Payton gone and Jameis Winston at the helm. They're number 6 in the league right now through the first 2 weeks of offense. They still pass the ball well as from a yardage standpoint. Our defense is going to have our hands full, but here's the thing. The Saints are not that good defensively.
Right.
So there's an opportunity for us to get right, but we won't get right. We won't.
I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you something that I'm really, really going to look at very closely next week. I'm going to look at this matchup between Taylor Moton and Cam Jordan next week, because Taylor Moton got to get right, man. Like, I'm if there was one person that I'm the most disappointed in how they played today, it's Taylor Moton. He got manhandled today. You know what I mean? And dog, if you can't get right against Cam Jordan, it's going to be a really long day next week if you can't get right against that.
Playing against Panthers, not as much since Cam Newton left, but he's still beating up on us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there's questions in the chat. Do you feel like we'll get better, or this is it? And if we can finish the first quarter of the season 2-2, we bring back hope. No, I don't feel like we'll get better, but yes, I'll bring back hope if we finish the season 2-2, because wins over that would mean that we beat the Saints, which a tough Saints. I don't know if the Saints are tough, but that would be a tough win for us considering they're coming off a loss, and then that would also mean that we beat the Cardinals, which we're not going to beat the Cardinals. So,
but you look. I know history means nothing, but you do know the Cardinals are the last team that we beat. Even Colin playing. I get it, man. But we tend to always pull something out against the Cardinals for some reason.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, the Saints could be a toss-up game, but depending on, looking at how poorly we played the first 2 weeks, the Saints just look like a better team. They held Brady to 20 points, but they only scored 10, and that's Saints and Bucks. They are true division rivals. They really don't like each other. They're like the rivalry games. You can never predict what happens. You can throw all those stats out of the window, I think, when it comes to Saints and Bucks. I would just be very surprised if we reeled off wins against the Saints and the Cardinals to go 2-2.
Yeah.
So if we go 2-2, then okay, all right, maybe Matt Rule's on to something. I don't think we'll go 2-2. I think we're gonna be 0-4, honestly.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Look at this. After the Saints game, we essentially play the entire NFC West. We play the Cardinals, 49ers, and Rams. Do we win any of those games?
Hell no.
We don't beat any of those 3 teams. Then we play the Bucks. Do we beat the Bucks?
No, absolutely not.
The next game that we'll probably have a good chance of winning and we may be favored in is against the Falcons.
Yeah.
The Panthers could be 0-7 before they face the Falcons.
Real quick, man. If anybody, I promised my brother Travis I'm gonna try to get this to work this week, man. So if any of y'all would actually like to call in, you can dial 704-941-1747. Again, 704-941-1747. Because to your point, man, even before the season started, and I'm looking at the schedule, it it, it just doesn't look like it's going to get better, man. I don't see a lot of wins there. Look, I know it's not necessarily fair to do this, but I am actually changing my win totals prediction. I know you're not supposed to do this in the middle of the season. I'm going 3 because that's how bad it looks right now.
I'm looking at the schedule and I'm like, I don't see it. Okay, so let's say that we mess up and beat the Falcons. Then we play the Bengals, probably an L, and then we play the Falcons again. Then the Ravens, probably an L. Broncos, maybe. Seahawks, maybe. Steelers, probably an L. Lions, maybe. And then the Bucks and the Saints to end the season.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of wins. Not
again.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, I don't see, and I was like, I think the Panthers might sneak into the playoffs. Based on what I've seen in the first 2 weeks, I don't see that. Certainly don't see that. Don't see that. They have a lot to turn around.
If we found a way to outsuck the Giants, what else do you say?
Exactly my point. We said this last week. You cannot lose to the Giants. If you lose to the Giants, then boy, you got some problems. And the thing is, the Giants didn't even play that well.
Right. Right. That part.
They played terrible the first half too, and we still somehow found a way to lose that game. So
EBO.
Oh boy, I mean, this is. I'm already ready for NBA season.
Hey man, October 18th, man. Oh, open up against the Pelicans. Can't wait.
All right. You know what? Top 5 draft pick incoming. Is there really anyone that we want besides Drake May? I mean,
not really. I mean, look, it's pretty early in the college season as well, man. I don't think there's been enough games to really to have anybody kind of stick out, so to speak. Give me another 4 to 5 weeks, there'll probably be at least a guy. And I'm like, all right, we can at least look forward to drafting someone like whoever. But it's too early to tell right now.
So. One second. I'm looking at this.
While Kaz is staring off into space, I just want to remind everybody we still don't have a backup point guard for the Hornets. Just one.
Okay, so that's what I was looking up. I saw a news article talking about the potential of a LaMelo Ball trade request and possible destination.
Really, we're talking LaMelo trade request now.
So let me ask you this. One. Oh yeah, we're not talking about the Panthers anymore. Fuck them. One, do you think LaMelo would actually request a trade? And 2, how bad would things have to get in the season for that to happen? Because we do know that LaMelo Ball hasn't never publicly stated this, but reports coming out of his camp was that he was not happy with the offseason and the direction of the team. So how bad would things have to get for him to request a trade? And do you think he would ever do that?
Well, to be very clear, the report said that his camp wasn't happy. And I think we have to really look at that statement very closely. And the reason why I say that is because all indications that have come from LaMelo Ball, at least in my opinion, will kind of tell me he wants to be here. And that's, again, that's everything that has come from his mouth personally. So, when it says that his camp is not happy, and we kind of talked about this on the show 2 weeks ago, who exactly is the camp? Is it his daddy, which I could care nothing about, or is it his agent, which could make a difference and who could have some influence over LaMelo's decision in the future, which I do worry about. Now, as far as to answer your question, how bad would it have to get? Um, I guess not making the playoffs again. I think that's probably a easy way to put it. If we don't position ourselves to firmly be in the playoffs, and no, not the play in game, I do mean the actual playoffs. I think if we get to that point, you probably could you maybe could see something. I put nothing past the Hornets' luck. Let me be very clear about that. Hey, look, anything can happen with this damn team as far as bad luck goes. So I'm not gonna say I am done trying to make predictions about the Hornets may do this and they may do that. One thing I know about the damn Hornets, anything and everything can happen with this franchise, man. So I'm not into making predictions anymore. I'm done. I'm done with doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think LaMelo would request a trade in the middle of the season. For him to do that, yeah, like Jamal Cowan said, it would have to be Bobcats level bad. However,
Right.
I do think if they miss the playoffs and they don't particularly look good or like they're going to make any moves, then I could see him requesting a trade in the offseason before signing an extension.
But you know a question I have when we did not ask this question, man. What was how should the Hornets look year 3 in the LaMelo Ball era? I mean, I'm realistically, what should the Hornets? Is it fair to expect the Charlotte Hornets to be in contention for some championship in the 3rd year of LaMelo Ball? Is that really realistic?
I'd say this much. My expectation is that. So I'm gonna use John Morant as an example.
Right.
Last year was his year 3. Nobody, and anyone that says otherwise is a liar. Nobody thought the Memphis Grizzlies would be as much of a threat as they were. And no one expected Ja to make that big of a leap, like a huge leap like he did, like to be nearly an MVP caliber player. So I would expect LaMelo Ball to make a big leap, maybe not as big as Ja went, but I think to expect the Hornets to be like a championship or a contending team is unrealistic. A playoff team, maybe. I mean, this is the 4th year of the rebuild, 5th year of the rebuild.
Right.
I think that's fair, to say, okay, I expect them to at least be a playoff team. And they've been close as they can get. In fact, we were a referee giving Miami a three-pointer they didn't deserve away from making the playoffs. If Kyle Lowry, if that's a 2, the Hornets win, and
we're firmly in the playoffs.
And they make the playoffs. So yeah, I think I don't think LaMelo Ball. Plus, LaMelo Ball is a star here because he's in Charlotte. Well, let's not get it twisted. I know that LaMelo brings his own star power with him because he was a social media star before he even stepped foot on an NBA court. He had 5 million Instagram followers. He had more followers on his Instagram page than the Charlotte Hornets do on theirs. But if LaMelo goes somewhere like, let's just say he goes somewhere like Memphis, he's not a star there. He wouldn't be the star beside Luka. He wouldn't be the star beside LeBron James. He wouldn't be the star in LA beside Kawhi and Paul George. Here, because he's in Charlotte, he is the star. And I think he likes that, actually.
Yeah.
He wants to be a name here in Charlotte, just like Cam Newton was, just like Hornets of the past. I mean, we still talk about Larry Johnson, and Larry Johnson don't even like the Charlotte.
He don't even like Charlotte. He don't even like the Hornets.
Yeah, but we still talk about him like, man, Larry Johnson was like a superstar, because he was. So I think LaMelo wants to be that. Whether or not the Hornets will do right by him and build by him properly, I guess, I guess we'll have to see. Unfortunately, I think that the Miles Bridges situation messed a lot of things up. So
that's an understatement. So, all right, let's move on to a lighthearted topic, man.
I do have one more. I have one more question. This is for you and for the chat.
Yeah,
and something that I see a lot, particularly in the Hornets Facebook group. LaMelo Ball said in an interview with GQ earlier this year that, and this was when Borrego was still coach, and this was before the Montrezl Harrell trade, but he said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, how he was going to take the next step when the team really gave him the keys. And I see that a lot. When the team gives LaMelo the keys, woo!
Oh boy, yeah.
What does that mean? Give him the keys, because from what I've seen, LaMelo Ball was allowed to pretty much do whatever he wanted for the most part. Okay, so James Borrego pulled him after he did a between the legs alley-oop off the backboard. Okay, but we were losing that game. Right. I want everyone to remember that when he did that, we were losing to the freaking Orlando Magic.
And we lost that game.
Okay, all right. But for the most part, I feel like the Hornets haven't really handcuffed in the second year anyway. You could make the argument that in his first season, because he was backing up Devontae Graham, that they had handcuffed him. And in the second season, I don't know. What does it mean, give LaMelo the keys? What does that mean?
I don't know, man. I guess playing him 34 minutes a game, centering the entire offense around him, kind of making him the focal point of the entire offense. You know how Chris Paul, he's the most ball dominant dude you've ever seen. You know what I mean? He controls the entire offense. I guess LaMelo Ball and his fans are looking something like that. I think they want LaMelo Ball to shoot the ball more, quite honestly. You know what I mean? I think some fans may want to see him off the ball and be more of a scorer than they want him to be a point man. Maybe it means that, man. But to your point, Borrego, the offense is pretty much already predicated around him. He was the one that was already running the offense. He was the one that was already setting the tempo for the Charlotte Hornets. So I don't know if that's going to be vastly different.
He had a very large green light to shoot the ball when and whenever. When he had the ball in his hands, I don't think that there was any okay, LaMelo, we don't want you to do this. It was like, okay,
listen. I don't even want to compare players, but you know good and damn well Kemba Walker didn't have that kind of damn green light when he was in year 1 or 2. No. So I don't get it, man.
I think that sometimes LaMelo had too much of a green light, as far as there were times where I think when LaMelo had the ball, Borrego would just say, okay, I'm just going to let LaMelo do his thing instead of calling a set play or having the team get set up in their offensive scheme. It was just kind of like, okay, let's let LaMelo create. And sometimes he would, but then sometimes he'd make the extra stupid pass or whatever, trying to make a highlight reel. He's got to cut that out in year 3, by the way. And
if he wants to make a jump, he's got to be more of a pro.
I think he will. I certainly think he will. I think he's got all that out of the system, and he is going to make that big leap this season. But I just wonder what does it mean? The keys.
I think this is a big ass if, man. When I say a big if, I mean capital IF asterisk. If he buys into what Steve Clifford can really teach him, I think he can make that jump. I think Steve Clifford could be very good for LaMelo Ball. Notice I say it could be. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. They trust him enough to take the final shots in clutch games. That Bucks game. That was. He had the keys. He had the keys, and
drove the damn car off the cliff sometimes. So
we won't even talk about the playing game. We won't even talk about it.
Just erase that game out of our memories, man. Hey, real quick, man. Do you like the new statement uniforms and the statement court? Are you feeling those at all? Okay, cool. All right. Yep.
You have to actually make a statement on the court for me to give a damn about that. That's some NBA 2K shit right there.
So say make a statement and sign a damn point guard. That's a statement we want to hear right now.
Anyway, Isaiah Thomas has been working out with the Lakers in the they're going to sign.
That got proved to be false. Let me tell you what happened. So, I don't have the insider's name offhand, But he was the one that posted that Isaiah Thomas had been working out for the Lakers. Isaiah Thomas himself responded to the tweet saying, "Hey, bro, I didn't work out for the Lakers. Where are you getting your information from?" So, yeah.
Oh wow.
I gotta send you that. I gotta send you that.
Yeah, shoot me that. Yeah, good for IT, man. You gotta call out these journalists that a lot of fake stuff going around.
Hey man, I'm gonna say it again, man. I really think IT wants to come back here. I do. Just every indication that I see from him lets me know he wants to be back in Charlotte. So
I gotta think Mitch wants him back. I gotta think the roadblock is Steve Clifford.
Probably, yeah, I agree. Yeah, man. Shout outs.
No, MCW can work out.
Chris,
why?
Chris, I will kick you out of this. I will kick you off Facebook if we sign Michael Carter Williams. It is your fault, and I'm kicking you out of the Hornets group.
Man, okay. If they sign Michael Carter Williams, I will throw a brick in the window of the team store. I'll go to jail for you guys. Okay.
Because
I'm not going to joke about what happened, with the uprising a few years ago when somebody they brought the National Guard in. But I'm just saying, I'll throw a brick for that too. You know what I'm saying? So don't bring MCW back. God no.
Please, God no. I can't take it. Please.
Shout outs. I don't want to step on your toes too much. I'll just shout out Charlotte as a whole this weekend. There was a lot of different stuff going on. There was Festival in the Park. Plaza Midwood has an event that they do every so many weekends in which they have a lot. I actually did a close-up magic show. Somebody was like, "Hey, we need a magician," and somebody reached out to me, and I did a close-up magic show, and it was a real good crowd. A lot of people milling around Charlotte. It was a good weekend to be out in the city. The weather was very nice. Shout at, what are y'all doing at Carowinds? What are y'all doing?
Other than taking down our favorite rides, is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, first they said people were shooting at Carowinds, so I have a lot of friends who have kids and their teenagers were at Carowinds. And like, man, my daughter called me, said, people were shooting, and then I see these videos on Twitter and Instagram of people running and just acting crazy. And then Carowinds comes out and essentially says, no, nobody had a gun. There was no shooting. It was just some foolishness going on.
I can't even go to Carowinds anymore, man. Really?
I don't know if that is just indicative of the state of America.
I look, man. I blame the young generation. There were two safe places I could always go in my early 20s: the strip club and Carowinds. You can't even go to either one.
Yeah.
What is wrong with the world?
Also, there was a high school football game, in Georgia, Josie High School. I'm going to get the exact location. Yes, Augusta, Georgia, Josie High School. There was a shooting at the football game. It was either at the football game or following the football game, but there was a post I saw on Instagram where people at the game, shooting happened and people started hiding under the bleachers. So sad. That is just sad that you cannot go anywhere without fear of getting blasted. So be safe out there tonight. I know a lot of y'all are going to Wu-Tang for all the three of them that are going to be there. The Wu-Tang Nas show. No Busta Rhymes. He's like, man. But yeah, just be careful out there, y'all. Danny Thompson. I'm looking at the scores, and I see the Rams beating up on the Falcons.
Yeah, so yeah, don't come in here with that today, buddy.
Yeah, what are you?
What are we talking about? Yeah, we see scores, bro.
Yeah, what's really going on?
We gotta have Daddy back on, man. We hadn't had Daddy.
It's been a while.
He got too big for us, like Rodney did too.
Yeah. Shout out to App State for the win. Yeah, especially because Texas A&M talked a lot of smack before that game. Like,
Yeah.
called them hillbillies and all kinds of stuff. So,
oh, and by the way, man, App State won off a Hail Mary yesterday, man. yeah, they won off a Hail Mary to beat Troy yesterday, man. So shout out to them, man. Shout out to Charlotte football, who finally won a damn game. Thank God, man. Charlotte finally beat Georgia State, man. They got their starting quarterback back, man, which is a good thing. So they did pull out a victory over Georgia State, man. Shout out to Charlotte FC, who pulled out a really great comeback win yesterday, man. Still a long shot for the playoffs, man, but not mathematically eliminated just yet, man. So we'll hope for a miracle as far as Charlotte FC goes, man.
Who's got a better chance of making the playoffs, the Panthers or Charlotte FC?
Charlotte FC, definitely. My shout at goes to Busta Rhymes. I am done with Busta Rhymes. Look, man, I don't know if some money got messed up. I don't know if he was ever coming to Charlotte originally. I don't know. Maybe he never intended to come to Charlotte. But I am so sick of this man teasing us with his dumbass performances. The first time I saw this man in Charlotte, he gave us 30 minutes and got paid and walked off stage. This time, he was slated to be on the Wu-Tang and Nas tour. Of course, he booked himself on today's date to go to some festival in England somewhere. I am done with Busta. I don't want to hear woo-ha no more. I don't want to. Look, when his verse on Scenario comes on, I'm turning off the damn song. No, I am tired of Busta Rhymes.
I can't do that. I can't do that. But yeah, I mean, if it was anywhere but Charlotte, he'd probably come. But
like he had been, he's been a lot of dates. But of course, Charlotte gets the short end of the stick as usual. So,
oh well. Hopefully, it's a good show. I'm not going. I think I'm the only hip hop head in Charlotte that is not going. Because one, I wasn't gonna pay like $300-400 for like a good ticket, and then the lawn seats. I just didn't want to sit all the way in the back. By
the bathroom.
Yeah, like 3 football fields away from the stage to see the show. And it's gonna be so many people there. I'm gonna sit this one out. I've seen Nas, I've seen Wu. And I'm not, to be fair though, I've not seen all of Wu, at least the remaining members collectively, but I don't know if they've ever actually done a show collectively like ever. Like since Old Dirty Bastard was alive.
I've seen it before, and all of them were there except RZA. I don't know if that counts.
That's what I'm saying. There's always like one or two missing. Yeah. They can't do like all the songs. Right. And the last Wu member I saw was the Capadonna show at Patriots. We don't even talk about.
Well,
he still owe me $80 for that show, as far as I'm concerned. So he better not be there tonight. If he there tonight, ask him to run me my $80. I might go to the show. Just roll up on, be like, "Yo, Capadonna, hey, you did last time you was here.
Let me get that 80 back."
Yeah, let me get that back. But hopefully, y'all that are going, you have a great time tonight. Please be safe. Please be safe out there. If you see somebody running, then just you run too. Okay, promise me that. Don't ask questions. Don't be like, "Hey, what are we running for?" Just go.
Hey man, I went to West Charlotte, so I know the drill.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You know the drill, right? So, and hopefully, we'll see you guys back here next week, and we can talk about how bad the Panthers suck some more. All right, y'all take care.
And hopefully, we'll be in the studio if I can get my damn car fixed. But
yes. Right, if y'all know any good mechanics, hit us up on Construction. All right, peace, y'all.
Peace.